All right, so this game is against a bunch of like kids. They're either in university or just like out of high school, maybe even still. I don't even know, but they're all a lot younger than my team, and we had a short bench, so that doesn't help us. And that's not a team that you want to have a short bench against because they're just going to outskate and skate because they all have a ton of energy or are all in a lot better shape than the dads on my team. So yeah, that was it's going to be an interesting one. With that said, and we'll talk about these pads a little bit because I haven't worn these pads really in this league at all this year, so we're going to talk about these at the end. So a slightly different thing here, these are the Cortech like base layers, and the idea of them is to help with like growing poles and your hips and everything, and they have a tight end piece. You can see how this material doesn't really stretch a lot, and it's really tight and it really holds your hip and like legs in place. This stuff, I've used it for years under different branding. They used to be under Under Armour, and has saved me multiple times in games, especially towards the end of this and playoffs, where I pulled my groin and I wouldn't have been able to play without these things. So Cortech sent me a pair of these I'll do a full review on them and everything, but if you're interested in Cortech stuff, and they really help with the groin and like stopping injuries from getting worse and preventing them. They have a less tight version as well. This is a 1.0, the other ones are a 3.0. There's a link to Cortech in the description. If you use my coupon code, you get a discount, as well as it supports the channel. So you get protective base layer stuff that I wear all the time and honestly really need to keep my groin intact, and it also supports the channel as well. So check those out.
Y'all ready for this?
So it was kind of an interesting game overall, and like my team was hemmed in our zone a lot, and I showed that, and it was tough because I said we had a short bench and they have young kids and they skate a lot, so they can outskate us. That's kind of what happened, just in our zone and stuff like that. I got lucky a few times. My one teammate made a ridiculous save that clearly a goal after I made like 2 or 3 saves. There was some lucky plays like that where we got away with. To talk about this stuff a little bit, so I didn't use this set with this league at all. I've used other pads, and I wanted to see how the sliding part really worked on this really bad ice, and just to see how these pads played against higher quality teams. This team isn't one of the best quality teams to play against, and they don't really shoot that hard, which actually caused a bunch of issues in this because from like rebounds and stuff. And it was actually something my teammates brought up, and I noticed as well, but they noticed a little bit more. And that was just because of like the softer face on this, where it kind of has that like soft cushiony face, so the rebounds on these aren't super hot. So the ones off the toe and stuff, and the one just like off of here where it's not a rocket, come off kind of dead. And most of my pads have bigger rebounds than that, and it caused a few issues in this one. So that wasn't great. Like the second goal was just because of that. It was all like I played it wrong too, but that was a big reason, just because how dead that rebound came off, and I was expecting something a little hotter. You also see me drop my stick at the beginning of this, and that's where I talked about with that blocker thing with getting stuck on the Warrior stick, which I did a review on, so check out the review for that stick. Great stick. But it is something I noticed with grips, and the Bauer blockers are specifically like the 1X is really bad for it, so I wanted to kind of put that in there of me noticing that when I did this game. So for goals, the first one, I opened my legs like for a split second, and I don't think it was really because of like my teammate kind of got a stick on it and the guy kind of hesitated for a second. When you drop, it's not always fully flush all the time, and that one my leg just opened up a little bit and went through. That's why I was wondering how it went in. I asked my teammate like, where did that go, because I thought I sealed it, and he said, and you can watch the replay, my legs are like this, but then that one leg kind of opens a split second and closes again once I hit the ice. So that is how that one went in. Second one I kind of alluded to earlier was a bad rebound off like the shin, and I just didn't get it far enough out. I didn't make the right play, didn't play with my stick and stuff like that, and I slid over and just didn't catch it and didn't get my glove up for it. So it was kind of disappointing, that one. And finally, the third one was the guy was trying to shoot low, and so I stretched out my leg like this, right? And it hits my teammate's skate and kind of comes back in on me. So when I was kind of reaching out, it goes like right under here,
and I wasn't able to get it all the way down. It's one of the complaints I had with the pads where they don't have a pillow to really help push it down. But this is a thing where I was reaching for where the puck was going, hit my teammate's skate, and kind of changed direction on me and went in that way. So overall, not like an awful result. We should have probably won this game because I should have made a save somewhere to change that. But we got lucky with my D making that one really good play on the line too. So, I mean, we'll take it. We had, like I said, a short bench against like 3 lines of young kids. So it's not a bad result in the grand scheme of things.
You're watching HockeyReviews.ca.